Hi.
Hi. So before Supernatural, my favorite show was Charmed.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I was wondering, I know you and Alyssa are still kind of friendly, but how your experience on that show was.
So Charmed. Wow. It was kind of remarkable for me. So when I moved to Los Angeles to become a famous actor, the first job that I got, and by the way, I'm gonna go back a step here. So when I was living in Washington D.C., I started doing a little acting sort of on the side. But everything I auditioned for, I got a part in because there was nobody else auditioning for anything because it's not like a community that has a lot of actors. So I would go in for an audition, and for one role it would be like 24-year-old Misha, a 60-year-old black woman, and a 7-year-old kid, And those would be the three people up for that job, And it was like, those are all the actors that they could find in the area. And then I moved to Los Angeles. So I was having some success, and I got like as much success as you can have, in a local market. And then I went to Los Angeles and went to my first audition, and it was like, oh my God, there were 50 people that looked like my doppelgangers. Like they were and they all had, lengthy resumes. So it took me a really long time to get another job after I moved to Los Angeles. It took me like 9 months, and the first job that I got was Charmed. And I had no idea what I was doing. Oh, and it was a role that was set up, like it was a big role. It was going to be like a love interest of Alyssa Milano, and it was going to have like a long arc on the show. They thought I was terrible, and they're like, yeah, let's make this one episode. But I didn't know anything. Like I was on the set, and they're like, okay, you got to make sure to stand on your mark. And I'm literally thinking, who's Mark? I had no idea what was going on. I do remember Alyssa and I had a kissing scene that I think got cut ultimately from the episode. But she slipped me the tongue.
I think it was
pretty awesome. It was pretty great. And then I later did a pilot with her many years later, and hey. And I was like, hey, Alyssa, like thinking that we had something, She had no idea who I was.
Oh, no.
But that was an exciting time for me, being on Charmed. And now I actually am. Like, Alyssa and I have bonded again recently over politics. We're both huge fans of our recent president. And
yes.
And so that sort of unites us. Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, shall we do this in the traditional fashion where you say something and then I say something?
Hi. I'm Eva from Spain.
Oh, Spain! Lovely place.
And I saw you on Girl Interrupted.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you two questions. First question, how it was like to work with Winona Ryder? Mm-hmm. And second question, did you meet Jared Leto on the set?
You make it sound like that is the most exciting possible thing that could have happened to me on the set. I'm like, I get to meet Jared Leto.
Maybe you're like fangirling on him or something.
No, I did not meet Jared Leto, sadly. I did, however, I was fairly new to acting at this point, and they gave me this kind of 1960s hippie vest thing that had like a lot of laces on it, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to put it on. So I was struggling with it in my trailer. I was like, I don't know what to do. This is crazy. I don't know how to put this on. So I went into the hair and makeup trailer, and there was a woman in there who looked kind of, grungy. who was, and I was like, hey, excuse me, can you help me, you know, tie this thing on? I'm kind of stuck. And she helped me put it on, and I was like, you know, that's actually a little tight. Can you loosen it a little bit? She loosened it up for me. I was like, that's better, thank you. Turns out that was Angelina Jolie. I had no idea. And it was, Winona Ryder was very sweet. She's very small. She likes to steal things. I don't know if you know that. And that's all I can tell you about Girl Interrupted. No, that's not. I have another story about Girl Interrupted. So I got there, and they were like, you know, the director was like, yeah, I have one really, they had two, I was in 2 scenes, but they cut one of them, so I have one scene really in the movie, small part. And they were like, you know, I think you need a haircut. And I was like, okay. So I went into the trailer, got a haircut, and I came out, and the director was like, what the hell is that? You need another haircut. So for about 6 hours, Angelina Jolie and Winona Ryder and your friend Jared were waiting for me in my like hair saga, and the producer and the director, who were married to each other, got into a big fight about my hair. One of them thought it should be long, one thought it should be short, and I was like, stop it. I was new to acting. Now I love it when everyone waits for my hair. But at the time, it made me nervous. I don't know what else I can tell you about Girl Interrupted. I mean, I'm really sort of milking this for all it's worth. Apparently, while we were shooting in an old mental asylum, and we had our trailers parked around there, and apparently one of the guys on the crew who was working in Transpo, which is the department that takes care of the trailers and stuff, told me that Angelina Jolie's trailer was filled with used dildos.
Really?
Yes, true story. Probably not something that I'm supposed to talk about, but you know, whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah, that'll go. That'll show you to ask questions.
I don't know if it's a movie or a TV show, but you're in a film called Moving Alan.
Moving Alan?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not the only one around here. Mark Pellegrino's in it. He plays Alan, who is being moved as a carcass for most of the film. He's in the trunk of a car.
You set him on fire.
I set him on fire. I touched his bare ass.
I didn't see that bit.
What's that?
I didn't see that bit.
You did not see that bit?
No.
It's the best part. What? Reenacted? Mark will not have a problem with that. I assure you. Yes.
What exactly was the premise? Was it an exercise?
I just told you.
Film?
I just gave you the entire synopsis of the film. Alan needs to be moved as a carcass in the trunk of a very small car.
Was it a comedy or was it an exercise?
It is a comedy, although the movie itself is not funny at any point. Has anyone seen it?
Yeah.
How is that even possible? I don't think I've seen it. It's on YouTube. It's only in Portuguese. There you go. Yes, they released the Portuguese version early. We shot the whole thing. It was like a spaghetti western, but it was shot in Portugal, obviously, and we did it in Portuguese. Really? You've seen it? Wow. I guarantee you Mark hasn't seen it. That's amazing.
And can she send me the link?
Hold on, I'll ask. Would you be able to send her the link? What's that? Do you guys, can you tell me your email address so I can get it? I don't know why that's weird. All of a sudden she got quiet. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right.
This question is for Misha.
I changed my mind. I do want a compliment.
You're a wonderful actor.
What?
You're a wonderful actor.
Say it again.
You're a wonderful actor.
Now, can you say it and stress the word actor?
With feeling.
And uncross your fingers.
So most of us know that you were on Nip Tuck.
Yes.
Can you
That's why he looks so good.
What's that?
tell us about your experience on that show? And
My
are
experience?
you actually that flexible?
What did you do on Nip Tuck?
I played on Nip Tuck a yoga instructor who has an enormous cock and can't stop sucking himself off.
Whoa.
Really? Typecasting.
He is a great actor.
Every day. Oh.
Where's Misha? In his trailer.
The trailers are rocking, don't come knocking.
Well, as it turns out, I went to a high school that has an annual fitness test, and they've been administering it for 100 years. There's 1,400 students at the school, 1,200 students at the school, and I was the most flexible boy on the fitness test of anyone who had ever attended in 100 years. So yes, I am flexible. And when I was shooting Nip Tuck and I had my package in my face there, I was like, wow, I actually could do, I think I...
I'm not, you know, I don't...
But all I'm saying is, if I ever had to...
He was not impressed.
If I had to, I probably could.
Lost Jim. We've lost Jim, he's gone. He's not coming back now.
So,
I didn't
Yeah.
get into the business for this.
Yes, you did.
So, yeah, there's a little bit longer story with that. I had a bike accident after I shot Nip Tuck, and it was a pretty bad bicycle accident. And went into the hospital, and they took an X-ray, and they're like, it looks like your back is broken. And I was like, oh, that explains why it hurt so much. And then they did an MRI to really get in there, and they're like, oh no, you don't have, your back's not broken, you're fine, but you have a birth defect where the vertebrae in your spine don't lock together, which will mean that you're prone to paralysis if you do if you do anything like stretch too much or something like that.
So you could get stuck in that position.
I could literally get stuck in that position. Yeah, so for me, actually, funnily enough,
Also, eroticism is dangerous.
yes, self-fellatiating could kill me. So,
I'm sure that's just something your mother told them to say.
to get him to stop.
You'll go blind.
You'll grow hair on your palms, and you'll be paralyzed when you waste it. But anyway,
Jim's left the building.
the doctor actually said, you're probably very flexible. And I was like, it was sort of my one physical claim to fame, and it's because I have a birth defect. It's nothing to be proud of, so. But anyway, to answer your question, yes, I can.
Anyway,
You can't wait to get this question out.
it's very important. Well, we've been looking on your IMDb, and all I want to say is Stonehenge Apocalypse. Can you discuss that for us?
Isn't it a great working title? Yeah, Stonehenge Apocalypse, it's got a little of everything. It's got Stonehenge and an apocalypse. So I think, everyone will definitely enjoy the movie. There's a nuclear bomb, earthquakes, volcanoes, pyramids collapsing and rising up out of the earth. There's a cult, and there are guns, and a fighter jet. Need I say more? I think it's going to be a critic's fave.
And could you possibly tell us when we might be able to see that?
I think it's going to be on the Sci-Fi Channel. And I don't know when that's going to be.
Oh, okay.
They didn't ask me when I wanted it to be aired.
Oh, they really should have.
Kind of annoying. I hope it's not on my birthday. Are we good?
I think we're good.
Great.
Hi. Just wanted to get your opinion on what it was like to work with Eric Kripke again on Timeless. I really enjoyed your appearance there.
Why, thank you very much. Any excuse to interact at all with Eric Kripke is always welcome. So the way Timeless works and the way Supernatural works is the showrunners, the people that are actually in charge of of those operations, are down in LA, and productions are shooting up in Vancouver. So we don't actually see each other much or have a ton of interaction. But the calls and emails that went back and forth setting that up were really exciting, and it was just actually like super cool. Kind of felt like coming full circle. And I just love everybody on Supernatural loves Eric. He's this amazing, creative, energetic, funny, smart guy who also is willing to take big risks. Like, he had this totally satisfying, incredibly successful show that he was show running, and he said, you know what, I've done 5 years, that was my plan, I'm gonna go do something else. And I so admire and respect that, because that's gotta be hard to give up, because it's such a rarity, and we were all sad to see him go, but also everybody on the show is wishing him absolute success wherever he goes. So, yeah, good guy, and great things to come from him, for sure. But I think that he's a douchebag for killing my character so quickly. So, I agree, yeah.